It was supposed to be an ordinary court session, another case buried under paperwork and noise. But when the bailiff called, Case 1472 State versus Officer Reed, no one expected that a trembling 12-year-old boy would change the air in the room. He was small for his age, wearing a wrinkled shirt 2 sizes too big. His name was Eli Matthews. He'd come to testify about something no child should ever have lived through. The courtroom murmured as he took his seat, his tiny hands clutching the edge of the wooden witness stand. The judge leaned forward gently.
Eli, do you know why you're here today?
Eli nodded, his voice barely audible. Because the cops beat me, the room went still. Even the sound of the air conditioner seemed to stop. His words, soft, fragile, honest, cut through the noise of law and authority. The officer on trial, Reed, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Eli's mother sat in the front row, eyes red from sleepless nights. She had fought for this day for months. They were poor, powerless, and afraid, but Eli insisted on speaking. I wasn't doing anything wrong, Eli said, looking down at his shoes. I was just waiting for my mom outside the store. The police came and told me to put my hands up. I tried, but they hit me before I could. His lip trembled. They thought I stole something. I didn't. I only had a loaf of bread. For my mom. The judge closed her eyes, visibly shaken. The defense attorney started to object, but even he couldn't find words. The truth hung heavy in the air. Eli took a deep breath. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. My mom was crying. The doctor said my ribs were broken. I thought I was going to die. His mother's sob echoed in the silent courtroom. The prosecutor stepped forward gently. Eli, do you remember the officer who hurt you? Eli's small finger rose slowly and pointed across the room to Officer Reed. The man couldn't meet his eyes. But then something unexpected happened. Eli blinked through tears and said, I forgive him. The judge's gavel froze midair. The gallery gasped. Eli's voice cracked. Because if I don't forgive him, I'll never stop being scared. Tears rolled down the faces of jurors, clerks, even the stenographer. The judge whispered, You're very brave, Eli. But what came next would leave everyone speechless. As the court recessed, Officer Reed suddenly stood. Your Honor, he said shakily. May I say something? Permission was granted. The officer walked toward the stand, slowly, cautiously. Every eye followed him. He stopped a few feet away from the boy he had hurt. I did it, he said. I used force I shouldn't have. I thought he was older. I thought he was running. I was wrong. He swallowed hard, voice cracking. When I saw him point at me and forgive me, I realized what I'd become. I joined the force to protect people like him, not to break them. The courtroom was stunned. The officer turned toward Eli and knelt down. I'm sorry, he whispered. If you'll let me, I'll spend the rest of my life making this right. The boy hesitated, then did something that broke every heart in that room. He reached out and hugged the man. Gasps filled the air. The judge lowered her head, tears in her eyes. That single hug, small, trembling, full of pain and grace, was more powerful than any verdict. The next day, headlines across the country read, 12-year-old boy's forgiveness shocks courtroom. Officer confesses on the spot. But the story didn't end there. Months later, Officer Reed resigned from the force. He began volunteering at a youth center, one named after Eli's father, a man who died years earlier working 3 jobs to keep his family alive. Reed used his own pension to help rebuild the center's library and keep food programs running. And every Friday evening, without fail, a patrol car would stop in front of the small apartment where Eli lived. The officer would step out, not in uniform, but in jeans and a hoodie, carrying 2 loaves of bread. Eli would grin and say, You didn't have to. Reed always smiled back. I owed you bread. The city changed because of that moment. It wasn't about a courtroom or a case. It was about a boy who taught grown men what strength really was. Because sometimes, justice doesn't come from punishment. It comes from forgiveness that humbles the proud and heals the broken. And somewhere in that small corner of the world, a 12-year-old boy proved that even in the darkest places, kindness can still rise and silence a courtroom full of anger. The cops beat me, he had said. But by the end, his words meant something else entirely. The pain they gave me couldn't beat my heart.